Leave those ones.
All right, let's move on to economic matters. Businesses in Nigeria are suffering and suffocating under the yoke of skyrocketing fuel and energy costs. Available statistics show that companies spent about 635.2 billion naira on power in 2023 due to energy costs and its attendant impact on businesses. The situation is showing no sign of abating, as the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) said the annual inflation rate rose to 31.70% in February from 29.90% in January. That's an increase of 1.80%. Adwadi, let me start with you.
Well, this is another major challenge, just like the challenge we're having with the oil industry. And in this case, if you see what has been going on in the past few weeks, there's blackout almost everywhere. The same problem of falling national grid and all that. So I think we can't have a prosperous country without resolving the problem of electricity. South Africa generates about 50,000 megawatts. The same thing with Egypt. Even Ethiopia, about 17,000 megawatts. We generate megawatts almost the same with Ghana. We are talking about 200 million people compared with Ghana that's just a little bit bigger than Lagos State. So we can't talk about any meaningful economic development if you don't address this problem of energy, because it's something that will drive almost every aspect. If you see the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, that they spent 635.2 billion of power generation in 2023 alone. So how do you want to make profit, with that kind of situation? And these are major companies: pharmaceuticals, chemical and allied products, cement industry. So you cannot be telling them not to increase their products if they are spending this lot on the electricity bill. So it's a multi-layered problem. One is the fact that the discos are being owed, and the greatest debtor, the government, and also the populace. So that major problem is there. So we have to find a way to pay up these debts that are being owed. Then there's also the problem of people don't have access to meters. People are also being exploited. If you don't have meters, I know people who pay up to 100,000 naira, 3-bedroom flat, because they don't have just, estimated bills. So the discourse must also resolve this problem. If you are claiming that you are being owed, people are exploiting you, and you're also exploiting Nigerians, I don't think that will augur well.
Some energy stakeholders continue to claim no Nigerian is being exploited.
Which is not, because if you are just doing it, even when you don't bring light for 1 month, you still bring the bill for people to pay. How did you justify that? So the discourse also have their own internal problems, that they must also address, apart from the fact that they are being owed. For instance, the minister said some megawatts were generated and, distributed to them, but they refuse to account for them. So it's a multi-layer problem, and I hope that we need to come together, sit down together to find a solution to the energy crisis. There's no way we can develop without addressing this problem.
Right. Abikio, to buttress Adeoye's points, the breakdown I saw shows that while the non-manufacturers recorded 26.4% rise in energy costs, manufacturers recorded 41.8% rise.
Yes, because they are extremely reliant on diesel. Some years back, I think it was Flour Mill that decided that it was no longer interested in public supply of electricity. It decided to generate power by itself, which is extremely costly. It's extremely costly. Today in Abuja, the average price of diesel is 1,550 naira per liter. In Lagos, it's about 1,350 per liter. It depends on the retailer that you are buying from. Sometime in December, some were selling at 1,100, 1,200. again, depending on where you're buying from. So look at the cost of diesel. The cost of diesel is killing businesses in our country. Many businesses are folded up. And many people, many workers have been pushed into the unemployment market because companies are finding it difficult to keep their heads above the water. And that was why Labour, in their interface with the president demanded that VAT should be removed from diesel so that at least you can keep the price down. But because there is no subsidy on diesel, for example, it's been like that for long, the price that they sell diesel in our country is heavily dependent on foreign exchange, the exchange rate, heavily dependent on the exchange rate. The more the naira slides, the higher the price of diesel. So, and if diesel prices continue to go up, then it will be difficult for business to survive. The energy costs, the rising energy costs is one reason why prices of goods are going up rapidly, because a lot of these vehicles, these trucks that bring food are being produced from the north to the south, they run on diesel. Not all of them are petrol engine. A lot of them run on diesel, and it's extremely costly. Even if they were to run on petrol too is costly. In some parts of the north, like when I traveled in January, I observed that in some places they pay as high as 750 naira per liter. So how do transporters cope when the price of petrol is that high? 750 naira per liter. Some close to 800. Someone was telling me that even in Kebbi State, that in some places is close to 800 naira per liter. All of these things, all of these factors are worsening inflation in our country, because high diesel prices will affect the price of food.
Yes.
Those trucks, it costs a lot more to fuel their trucks now, and then the end user has to pay more. Businesses that need power supply to stay alive, they are now forced to buy diesel at a rate that is killing. Even people who have diesel engines, some of them are, switching to solar. People have Meccano and all of these big CAT and all of these big engines that run on diesel. They are switching to solar and other, because you just cannot sustain. It's not sustainable. And it's the same situation that we have with even the aviation sector, because aviation fuel, the aviation fuel price is always in the same range with diesel price. So you can see today the cost of, depending on the airline, you could pay as much as 200 naira for a one-way trip to Abuja. More than 200 naira. 244, 250, one-way trip. And it's not as if you are sitting in business class. So we've got to do something about the rising energy costs in our country, because those costs are killing businesses. They are leading to very high cost of the regular items that we need to get by in our country. Pharmaceutical products are now very expensive because the pharmaceutical companies, the domestic pharmaceutical companies, they are doing well. But diesel cost is killing everybody. It's killing everybody. So government has to figure out how it can address this problem before the businesses in our country simply all die.
All right.
Government has to do something quickly.
Adeoye, stakeholders are talking about decentralizing the grid. I mean, they continue to say Nigeria cannot rely on one single grid.
Of course. You know, we need to, it's part of the, one of the major problems is over concentration of electric distribution. You know, we need to unbundle the system so that there should be regional blocks that can generate electricity on their own, for their own people. And I think one other area we need to focus on is that, you know, we should also look at renewable energy. South Africa generates, I think, 10,445 megawatts from renewable energy, more than what we generate, the total megawatts we generate in Nigeria. Egypt generates 6,323 megawatts from renewable energy. And these are areas that states, can collaborate together. The entire states in Niger Delta, for instance, can start a renewable energy project. The same thing with the southwest states. The same thing with some states in the middle belt and all that. So that if we can have alternatives provided, it will automatically force down the prices of, the monopoly, of energy distribution by discos.
I think that is some of the problems that the discos are facing. If we look at the discos are like the face of the industry because they are the ones who interface directly with the ordinary people. They are the ones that you pay. Nobody pays to generating companies. Nobody pays to the transmission company. So, and discos now have to bear the brunt for everyone. A lot of Nigerians are into energy theft. I've talked about it before. People don't like it. They just want to blame the discos. And when discos decide that we are not going to distribute electricity to certain people, it's because they've discovered that in some communities, people are not prepared to pay. Sometimes they send their people to those places. They beat them up. They drop them down from... there are videos of disco staff, pushed down off the ladder while trying to disconnect electricity to people who are not paying. Some people believe that electricity should not even be paid for. Did we not see even Aso Rock, they were owing electricity bill. Asiwaju had to say they should go and pay immediately. That was what he inherited. The army, they were complaining the other day that their morgues, their morgues, their corpses are decomposing because they disconnected electricity. Why would you not pay your bill? Why would you not pay your bill? Ministries, federal ministries, a lot of them are not paying. It's not sustainable. That's why it will be difficult for you to attract the right kind of investment that can change the entire power value chain in our country, because people are not prepared to pay. And there's also the issue of appropriate pricing. As far as these guys are concerned, what we pay is not what we actually should pay. There is a lot of subsidy. Where, for example, you are supposed to pay 65 naira, you are paying 32 naira. Government is still subsidizing the power sector.
And the minister is saying it's no longer sustainable.
Well, it's not for him to decide. It's not the president. I keep hearing him saying that. Fix the problem and stop talking about subsidy. The one that we have removed, people have not recovered from it. Every time Adelabu will be talking about it's not sustainable. Are you the one who instituted the subsidy? Is there any country in the world where nothing is subsidized? It should stop saying because what he's saying is giving the impression like, that is why he's not performing.
That's the major problem.
He's not helping himself by some of these things. Every time, every opportunity, we'll be talking about electricity subsidy. The president has said we will leave electricity subsidy the way it is. The Senate has said don't even increase tariff at this time. It's because they want Nigerians to even recover from this one.
Yeah.
that we removed the forex subsidy. You can call it flotation or something, but what it means, we remove forex subsidy because we used to defend it with our currency. Today, we removed the fuel subsidy, and we can all see the result. Now he's talking about it should just face its business of improving electricity generation in our country, electricity generation and transmission, as well as distribution, instead of talking about subsidy at every opportunity. Nigerians will hate him if he continues, because they've not recovered from subsidy removal, and you keep talking about it. It's not your business to talk about. You are not the president. Let the president decide if he thinks that at this stage that he should still remove another subsidy. But I know that the president is not considering that. It's not considering, and the Senate too has warned. Leave it the way it is. Why is he always talking about it's not sustainable? Can he pay? Can he pay? I mean, what is all this? People, some of our people who are not paying, who are energy thieves, bypassing meter, we need to talk to them. If we are objective journalists, we need to talk to those who bypass the meters, because they are part of the problem. You are supposed to pay for what you use. If you go to the US, will you not pay your utility bills?
We get a lot with a lot in this country.
Nigerians, they are going out, they will leave their lights on. Go and do it in the US. Go to UK and leave your light on. Let us see whether you survive.
Gentlemen, let's take Benga from Abuja. Good afternoon, Benga.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to DKO and the other guests there.
Good afternoon.
The issue of inflation in Nigeria, we are all waiting for the implementation of the promise about CNG. The CNG buses, the CNG kits, and CNG station that they promised.
Yes.
The government will give them the end of March or the end of April. Today in Abuja, we have lost many workers who are living in the suburbs. They have lost their job because the cost of transportation is about 80% of their salary.
Yes.
If the CNG buses and the CNG kits can be provided and the transport fares reduced, you will see that the many of these people will get their job back. And also, it will also help the SME to recover themselves. Because today, as an SME, if you order something from Lagos now to take it to Abuja, you pay a lot. But if the CNG buses kits are given to transporter, interstate or interstate transporter, it will reduce cost of transportation interstate, and also that will reduce cost of items and production. So what I'm saying is that the government have made these promises, and they say we'll give them the end of mid-March or April. If they can implement that, that will also bring down the level of inflation. Because today, you also add the cost of transport to anything you are producing in Nigeria, because of the cost of fuel. So let them focus on that and get that one solved, because that's a low-hanging fruit that really helps to cushion the effect of inflation. Another thing is that government now should be working on how to get interstate rail system, because that also will help in transportation of goods and services within the state. These are the things we can do, because the GenCos and the DISCO, they have problem of gas. Problem of gas now, the price of gas is...
All right, Benga, thank you so much. Valid points there.
So I'm sorry, I spoke here some weeks back wondering why we should price gas in dollars in our country.
Yes, you did.
Why? We've had system collapses in our country on account of insufficient gas supply to GenCos. And anytime there's a breach of the pipeline, gas can't get to them, because the source of gas supply is very far from the location of those gas, power plants. The source of gas supply is in the Niger Delta. Some of the power plants are in the north. At least I know Geregu is in Kogi, for example. We have a Motosho. We have Papalanto. Far away from the source of gas. And these boys constantly, sometimes out of ignorance, they think that it's actually petrol that is flowing in those gas pipelines. By the time you break it, you discover that you have just wasted your time and you wasted money wasted our money because you cannot pipe what you have broken. So it's just there, wasting away. You cannot do anything with it. So there is no reason why we should, if we are producing gas for domestic production, for people to generate power for Nigerians, why are we pricing it in dollars? Why? We should not price it in dollars. It's making life difficult for stakeholders in the business. And a lot of the IOCs, they are not even interested in producing for you. They want to produce for export because they are guaranteed payment, quick payment, the kind of guarantee that they don't get if they are supplying to users in Nigeria. You get the point that I'm making?
I guess that's one of the reasons stakeholders are asking for an amendment to the Power Reform Act.
Even the domestic gas, liquefied petroleum gas, government is trying to force them now to produce that strictly for the domestic market. Is the reason gas that we use to cook is also very expensive. Because it's priced in dollars. That shouldn't be the case. Some of the things that we price in dollars are too many. And if we do not reduce them, the pressure on the dollar in our country will not go down. Some of those things should be priced in naira.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
What is it?
Thank you very much. Let's move on to our final topic for today. For the umpteenth time,